And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. Welcome in. It's Thursday, everybody. And that means we have made it to another end of the week here for Primetime. Almost. We have an hour here to chat with you. Got a lot to talk about here on this show. Jayson Tatum making his return to the NBA world in the Boston Celtics. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about DJ Moore. And we're going to have a conversation about DJ Moore, who is now a new member of the Buffalo Bills, Chad. And we're going to have a conversation about that and the NFL draft. There's a draft prospect who, if you just went based off the best available players, Chad, you'd say this guy's got to be the first guy off the board, right? But there might be some speculation on where is he going to go? So we'll talk about all that. But before we get into this Thursday edition of Primetime, Chad, how you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Like I said, we're almost at the end of the week. It's almost Friday now. We're about a couple hours away from Friday. I can't believe it's Thursday already. This week flew by, man. It flew by. How are you?
I am great. I'm excited. It feels like, the week flew by, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Today was probably the busiest out of all the days. But I'm excited, to enjoy good weather this upcoming weekend. So with that being said, it's Thursday. We're gonna get into some conversation. Jayson Tatum making his return for the Boston Celtics on Friday night. Chad, he's been out all season, recovering from injury. And now he's expected to make his 25-26 NBA season debut. This is per Shams Charania of ESPN. This is going to be Friday night against the Dallas Mavericks at TD Garden. And this is going to be interesting. This will be his first game since tearing his right Achilles tendon in Game 4 against the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference semifinals. I guess, there's a lot of different ways I want to ask you, or a lot of questions I want to ask you about this Jayson Tatum thing. And I guess the first question I'll ask is, how do him and Jaylen Brown coexist coming back onto the court? Because I get it. They've been with each other pretty much, not even pretty much, their entire careers. Yeah. But I guess my first question to you, Chad, is Jaylen Brown. He's had a great year. He is the alpha there. He hasn't had to compete. Some nights he's not the alpha, and it's Jayson Tatum's night. Well, Jayson Tatum's back tomorrow night.
Yeah.
What does this mean for Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, the chemistry there? There's always been that outside, murmurs of, do the two coexist? Are they eventually going to move on from one? Do you think that this could ruffle some of the chemistry in Boston? As funny as that sounds, because these are two guys that have played and won an NBA championship together. But Jaylen Brown, since, he won the NBA Finals MVP.
Yeah.
And he's had a great year this year. So, and Boston hasn't really stepped back too much in terms of production, in terms of record. What does this mean for Tatum, for Brown, and the Boston Celtics?
Well, I think it means a couple of things. First of all, I think maybe it means that as you go into the offseason, maybe the Celtics feel a little bit more comfortable, maybe moving on, right? I don't know. Here's the thing. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So maybe, just maybe, with him being out for so long, maybe they missed each other. Maybe they missed playing with each other. And I think kind of getting him back into I don't know. I'm just looking at I don't know. I think just getting Tatum back into the rotation and kind of getting him back in the swing of things, it's not going to feel normal anyway, right at first. It's not like he's going to come out and play, 36 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever a night. I'm sure they're going to ease him in. And honestly, man, the Achilles is an injury that, it freaks me out a little bit, Eli. You would think that there would be some mental trepidation. I know he's been working hard. It's not like he just came up and, was limping yesterday and they said, hey, you're good to go. And he's like, sure. I haven't jumped yet. I know that he's been doing all the physical therapy. That's the reason that, for him to come back at, how old is he? 28?
He is
less than, I almost said less than 24 hours. Less than, that's not true. Less than a full year. 10 months after he tore that's crazy to me. And he actually had the surgery less than 24 hours. So I guess that's where that popped into my head. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. They're gonna get along. They'll find a way. I'm sure. Sometimes you look at it and it's like, okay, well, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of relief for Brown. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Jayson Tatum, to your point about, making his return, 10 months after. It's kind of crazy to think about. He's talked about not wanting to come back less than 100%. And
Yeah.
I think, obviously, if he's had his way with this return, then he's going to be 100% when he comes back here. He's not going to come back 75%, helping a Boston team that's struggling. This is the Boston team that is near the top of the Eastern Conference, Chad. And, when you look at this, what does this mean for the Eastern Conference? I mean, Boston right now, 41-21, second in the Eastern Conference. They're only 6 games back of Detroit for the first seed in the Eastern Conference. There's a possibility that the East goes to Boston again this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all shapes up. The Cavs make a big move for James Harden, and that was supposed to be the move that potentially got him over the top in a year where Tyrese Halliburton recovering from a season-ending injury from last year in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Jayson Tatum recovering from what we thought was a season-ending injury after suffering it late in the playoffs last year. Yeah. And now it's the Cavs are going to have to go to war, to battle against James Harden, against Jayson Tatum, against Jaylen Brown. They're going to have to go against the Boston Celtics. They're going to have to battle these teams. Detroit's not going anywhere. I know the Cavs won the other night, but I do think that still will be a tough 7-game series. I think when the playoffs and the physicality improves in the playoffs, I think you're going to see that. But what does this mean for the Cavs? What does it mean for Detroit? What does it mean for these teams that thought Boston might be a little more susceptible to defeat come the postseason this year?
Yeah, all of a sudden the East isn't so wide open anymore, right? I can see the Pistons having a late season slide. I mean, and I don't even mean the slide. Like, I don't mean like losing 12 in a row or anything. I just mean like 3 out of 5, 4 out of 6. And all of a sudden, if the Celtics are there and playing well and they go 5-1 over that same stretch, they're right there on their heels. And then, if you're the Pistons, you can't cruise in as the 1 seed anymore. I don't know if there's much difference between the 1 and the 2. You have to look at the way all the all the seeding would play out or whatever. But obviously it makes a difference how you play and where you go, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, it could happen. I mean, Boston could clearly elevate to the 1 seed again. And it's just so funny because we talked about like this, they lost to the Pacers and everything's going to be fine. I know it's like, whatever, we got out tough, but they're going to figure that out. They're going to get in the weight room. And, the Celtics are falling apart, right? We said that. We said Jayson Tatum's going to be out the whole year. They're going to move on. They're going to tear it down. Nothing's whatever. You thought the Pacers would be good again. I don't know what happened to the Pacers, but the Knicks didn't look like they were going to be able to hold on to everybody. And now, like here the Pistons are out of nowhere. Again, like you said, the Celtics are now like maybe in a spot where they can catch the Pistons for that 1 seed. And all of a sudden, the Cavs are like looking at maybe the 4 seed, and that might be it, right? And I think it's not the biggest deal. But it just feels it feels like there's another team in the way now. If Tatum comes back and he's, like you said, 100%, then that's a little scary.
Yeah, and you could probably see a little bit of the worry in my face as a Cavs fan because it's not ideal. It's not ideal, and I think to answer if you're a Cavs fan, if you're a Boston fan, you're out here listening, then it's obviously very ideal.
Sure.
But in the eyes of a Cleveland fan right now, it is not ideal. And you talk about the 4th seed. I think this is what could really get interesting. Boston could walk into, like I said, the 1 seed, play a team that has to play at least 2 play-in games to get into the 8th seed.
Yeah,
they're more than likely gonna to walk on into that second round. And at that point, if the Cavs are sitting in that 4th seed, we're looking at a Cleveland-Boston matchup in round 2. And I like the Cavs' chances. I feel good about the addition of James Harden. I think, Donovan's obviously been healing up here. We're making sure he's good to go for the postseason here with about 20 games left in the season. I think a matchup against Boston would be the worst nightmare. A second-round matchup against Boston is not ideal because then, so now you have to get through Boston and New York?
Yeah.
Now you have to go through Boston and New York. Now, mind you, 2 teams that have knocked you out of the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years in Boston and New York.
Yep.
Chad, we need James Harden to have the best playoff performances he's had. I mean, and I mean like a stretch of them. And I'm not saying he can't do that, but this isn't 25, 26-year-old James Harden anymore. Right. He is a little bit older, a little bit more wise beyond the years, as I probably should say. But I think with James Harden, it's going to be interesting to see how he really steps into this role as the number two, sometimes the number one on the Cavs, depending on the night. It's Donovan's team, but there's going to be nights where we need James Harden to go off for a turn back the clock 35, 38-point game.
Right.
We need that. And I think, I don't know, I don't feel good about this, Chad.
No, I get it. I think James Harden I think he's veteran enough, right, as a player to kind of feel when the Cavs need that from him and when they don't. When they need him to just kind of distribute a little bit and just see the floor differently and be there as a another outlet if whatever Mitchell drives and gets collapsed on whatever. He's a shooter, obviously he can knock the three down. He can take the ball to the rim too. But I just mean I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is it feels like the Cavs are going to have to really know themselves because that's a pretty big psychological roadblock. Like you said, it's two teams that have knocked you out 2 of the last 3 years. Early, right? Early on, not like Eastern Conference Finals. It was a knockdown, drag out 7 game. Like we almost had them right where we wanted them, but somebody fouled out. Whatever. It wasn't like that at all, right? They got run out of the building in a couple series. In 3 series in a row now, really. 3 eliminations. Well, you know what I'm saying. In the three series where they've been eliminated, they've been run over.
You're telling me there's been 3 years in a row we have not hoisted the Larry O'Brien Trophy in Cleveland.
That's pretty much where I'm getting to. Yeah. That's
okay.
It. So I just think they need to know themselves. They need to have a better understanding of who they are, and really, you're going to have to attack each of these teams a little bit differently. I mean, you can't really. I don't know. It's just I don't feel great about it either. I mean, I feel like Harden is a veteran presence. I feel like he's going to be there, and he's going to probably maybe fill in the holes a little bit better than Darius Garland sometimes did, especially with the toe injury and whatever else. I just feel like he lost so much explosiveness that whatever. I don't know. Now you got me feeling worse about it. I felt pretty good before the show, and now I think you're right. I mean, it's a huge psychological roadblock if they end up, right there behind those two teams, and that's the path through. I think they're not in trouble, but they're going to have to overcome a lot.
Yeah, and this is also looking into if the Cavs right now, if the season were to end today, the Cavs would play Toronto round 1 and a 4-5 matchup. Yeah. So in Toronto, a scrappy. I mean, they're a younger team. Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett. They got guys over there that could definitely cause a little bit of a problem. Almost kind of similar to that Orlando series last year, where the Cavs had a heck of a series against Orlando and Franz Wagner, and all those guys. So just gonna be interesting to see there. But yeah, I mean, looking at this, is Boston the? I want to be careful when I say this because they're the second seed. Right now, you would think it's Detroit, but is Boston the favorite right now in your eyes to win the Eastern Conference?
If Tatum is 100%, and make no mistake, I don't want him to be injured. I don't want him to come back and re-injure himself, anything like that. I would like the Cavs to beat them with Jayson Tatum. I would like the Cavs to be better than the Celtics. But it's hard. I'm not going to root against a player. I don't want him to come back and not be 100%, to be re-injured, whatever. But yeah, if he comes back and he's 100%, then I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out and how he just kind of. And again, your legs aren't going to be under you. I know he's done the rehab, the physical therapy, but it's the conditioning, right? Stepping into game 64 or whatever, 61, wherever we are in the season. If I said 4, weird, that was weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's just stepping in this late in the season. It's going to be hard for him. It's going to take a few weeks to get his legs under him, right? And then especially after a leg injury, there's going to be probably periods of rest. He's going to play a game. He's going to sit out 2 games. He's going to play a game. He's going to sit out a game. There's going to be that, back and forth where it's going to take some time to get him reacclimated into the lineup and into the game and into the rotations and just into being and feeling like himself again. But yeah, if he comes back, and he's just like knocking down shots and taking them, it's going to be something completely different. But I wouldn't expect that. I would expect it to take some time to get him back in there. So maybe that's a silver lining. Again, not that I want him to be injured. I just maybe his comeback goes a little slowly and there's some rest and it's not so impactful right away.
Yeah. I'm curious. It makes a ton of sense, and I'm curious to see how the dynamic looks between him and Jaylen Brown. Just like I said, because it's been Jaylen Brown's team this year, more so than a shared responsibility. So I'm curious to see that. But yes, ESPN's Shams Charania reported earlier today. Big news: Jayson Tatum, Boston Celtics star, expected to make season debut on Friday night against the Dallas Mavericks. So that'll be interesting. In Boston, of course, they're going to play on a home game to make his return. Get him feeling good. Maybe get the first 2 shots under you, and then the ball's rolling. So we'll keep an eye on that.
You could say the stakes are high for Tatum. Stakes,
yeah.
Tatum. They go to.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Awesome. Great job.
All right.
Great job. All right. That's our NBA talk here for the day, everybody. With that being said, we are going to take a quick pause when we come back here. Yeah. When we come back here, we're going to talk about the NFL. We had a big trade. Yes. Big trade out of Buffalo and Chicago. DJ Moore, he is now a Buffalo Bill. So we're going to take a look at that. Chad and I are going to talk about that, the NFL draft, and so much more. I promise you, we'll put a bow on this week of prime time. We'll both make it out of here. You guys will make it out of here. We'll all be okay. And we appreciate you. This is the Inside Edge Network, Inside Edge Net on all the socials. This is Inside Edge Primetime. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I'm Eli Moon. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. We are back here with another edition here of Primetime. If you're just joining us, we talked Jayson Tatum in that opening segment. He is back, expected to make his season debut per ESPN's Shams Charania on Friday night in Boston against the Dallas Mavericks. Chad and I talked about that and what it means like really for the Eastern Conference, what it means for the Celtics too, incorporating Tatum back in late into the season. Going to be very interesting to see that, Chad.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that. What we will also keep an eye on is how the Buffalo Bills fare. And the reason I say that, Chad, I don't know. I know the Super Bowl just took place. I know the Seahawks won. I know we're supposed to like take a moment to breathe, but the combine happened and trades are happening. Yeah.
Kind of quiet, right? It just sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
And, all the buzz about Carnell Tate's 40, that was about it. That was in the Styles brothers. That was about it.
Well, Carnell Tate is out of the news right now because DJ Moore is in the news.
Yes.
DJ Moore was moved from Chicago over to the Buffalo Bills. I believe this was through Schefter, or Ian Rappaport, excuse me. I had this through Ian Rappaport and NFL Network, the details of the trade. DJ Moore, he was traded over to Buffalo. This is obviously a big move for Buffalo, first and foremost, Chad, because they've kind of struggled to have a wide receiver one since Stephon Diggs, and now they kind of have that. I mean, Khalil Shakir has done a good job. Keon Coleman, they've tried, a first-round pick, they've tried to make into their wide receiver one, but now they kind of get their guy, and a guy in DJ Moore who never really fit in all the way in Chicago, had those moments, had some big moments, obviously.
Really? Yeah.
But, I mean, near the end of the year, he had, a few flashes as well, but it just never seemed like he fit in entirely in that offense with Caleb Williams, with Ben Johnson. They have Rome Odunze there, Luther.
Okay.
Yeah, they have Rome Odunze there, Luther Burden. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Justin Fields days. He had an immediate connection with Justin Fields. I think he had almost, 1,400 yards the first year with Fields. But, yeah, I mean, his role's kind of gone down. Like you said, you mentioned all the names. They have a ton of pass catchers. Boy, that almost really tripped me up there. I almost said something bad. But, yeah, they have a ton of guys who can catch passes. Maybe that's a better way to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like maybe they had a surplus there, and his role had gone down. You see a need, and listen, they got a second-round pick back. I don't know. Is that pretty good for a guy who had, 700-some yards this past season, 50 whatever catches? Yeah. I mean, I think both teams are probably feeling okay. I don't think I thought maybe a third-rounder, but a second-rounder's fine. I mean, whatever. It's fine. I just saw a thing. Speaking of draft picks, really quickly, I saw a thing where the Rams haven't had a first-round pick since 2017. Or what? I'm sorry, they've had one first-round pick since 2017. One first-round pick, and they just keep winning games, and they're on the cusp of Super Bowls, and they've won a Super Bowl. That's wild to me. Meanwhile, the Browns every year have 14 first-round picks and can't field a team that can win more than 8 games in 2 years. Whatever, it's fine. We're off topic. We've wandered off the path, and I'll go back. Yeah, I just think the Bears were dealing from kind of a place of a surplus, right? The Bills needed a wide receiver. We talked about maybe Stephon Diggs would go back there. They heard that and immediately did whatever they could to avoid that. So they went and gave a second round to the Bears for DJ Moore, and here we are, right?
Yeah, and it can be interesting, with Joe Brady, the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills, how to incorporate DJ Moore. How's that offense going to look? James Cook had a real good year last year for them. Are they going to be more of a balanced offense? Are they going to try to air this out to DJ Moore? Are they going to get him involved? Another big thing to keep an eye on is he's really good with the screen passes. Catching screen passes from in Chicago, Caleb Williams, in Carolina, a plethora of quarterbacks. But it's going to be interesting to see how they incorporate him. Like, what exactly are the Bills planning to do with DJ Moore? What does this mean, though, more so for the Bears? Because the Bears are now in a spot, like you said, you have Luther Burden. You have Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
You kind of have. You're in a spot where are the Bears gonna draft a wide receiver, Chad?
Yeah, but I don't think they have to do it early, right? I think you can wait, and I think you can maybe look at that as a position of depth, and draft that way at the wide receiver spot. I don't think they have to go out and get one of the number one guys. The consensus top 2 or 3 wide receivers or whatever. I don't think they have to rush to feel like they need to do that. The offense was pretty good, and DJ Moore had a limited role. I mean, they bring in a guy to replace those numbers, and they're still doing fine, right? So maybe you look to draft a wide receiver 2 or 3, a slot, whatever. I mean, they could. There's a lot of creative ways they can go with this. I think if you're the Bears, I mean, they've shown the propensity to. How do I want to say this? The offense has improved enough that, I mean, last year you saw what they did. They were on the cusp of doing some very, very big things. Won their first playoff game since, I don't know, I think like the 1600s or something, but maybe not quite that long. But yeah, I think things are looking up in Chicago. I don't think they need to go out and get one of the top guys. I think they can kind of look at wide receiver as, drafting, like I said, just as depth and a guy that you can add out there that can go make some catches in some certain situations, but it's not like an immediate need. I think they just, again, that was kind of a position of strength for them. Maybe I'm wrong, but feels like it.
Yeah, and we're going to talk obviously draft a little bit later on too, just with some other stuff going on, other reports, other news, But with that being said, we're going to have a conversation about the wide receiver room because I think this is very apparent too that there's going to be a run on receivers. I think that's the clear evidence here.
Yeah.
The Bears and the Bills draft right after each other. The Bears draft 25th. The Bills draft 26th.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Bills just went out and got their guy in DJ Moore. Makes me think that Chicago's thinking they're going to get the last opportunity of maybe one of those top 3 guys.
Maybe.
But if anything, this is just very clear that I think if you're the Browns and you're sitting there at number 6, Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson's got to be the pick, right? I mean, unless you like Mekhi Lemon, unless you're a big fan of Mekhi Lemon and you think this is the guy, I just think you got to go out and get one of these guys or they're not going to be there. The idea of the Browns being able to take one of these guys maybe at 24. They do draft right before both those 2 teams I mentioned, and the Bears and the Bills.
Yeah.
But there's some other notable teams that are right before the Browns. I mean, Philly, there's a lot of stuff up in the air right now with A.J. Brown. Kind of keep an eye on that come draft night. Pittsburgh, you keep an eye on Pittsburgh. You got just teams that, Carolina could always add another wide receiver. You're looking at some of these teams that draft before the Browns' first round pick.
Yeah.
I think they have to take Tyson or Tate. Every day it feels more and more like that has to be the move.
Maybe. So to me, I feel like that's why they're going to take a guy and try to make him like a punt returner or something. They're going to, what I mean? They're going to blow. No, but maybe you're right. I mean, yeah, it's starting to sort of feel like that. Like that's the direction that the pick is headed. I saw that they, who did they meet with? Ty Simpson and I think, who else? Jordan Tyson, I think, right? But yeah, I don't know. The Ty Simpson made me, I don't know. It made me think a little bit. I'm like, well, we're not going to do this, are we? Like, he was one of the top 30 visits, right? So I would think that means they're looking at him at 24, maybe possibly with 24. But I don't love that either. Do you? You can't bring another quarterback into this mess right now, can you?
No, and I know Anthony Alford, AA, was talking on Midnight Run yesterday, and you can check that out here on the Inside Edge Network Monday through Wednesday from midnight to 1 a.m. right after prime time, about 30 minutes, about an hour to 30 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour before AA goes on after us on prime time. So just stay tuned in here on the Inside Edge Network, give us a follow. But Midnight Run, AA was talking on Kirk Cousins. I don't know if you caught too much of that, but about 38-year-old Kirk Cousins and the idea of maybe bringing him in. But obviously, Kirk Cousins isn't a long-term or short-term option, so that was dismissed. Yeah, and it was dismissed eventually. But it's interesting. All these names circulating around. Malik Willis, Kirk Cousins yesterday. You're having these other conversations about guys. I think you have 2 guys in the room, and really one. I think, in my opinion, it should be Shedeur Sanders' job. I think what you have with Deshaun Watson. You know what you got with Dylan Gabriel. You don't know. There's an unknown about Shedeur Sanders. So you have to go see what's there. And I think with the Browns, they have an opportunity where we've talked about it with like this past year where they have an opportunity to find out if they have the guy or get the guy. And they didn't have the chance to get Fernando Mendoza because Shedeur Sanders won some games down the stretch and he put him into the 6th spot. He protected his own job security. Or, he protected his own job. So he,
some people argue with you that the defense was responsible for those wins, but you still have to score points. You got to have a quarterback that can move the football up and down the field a little bit. And when we saw Sanders have a propensity to do that at times, and then he would also make some very rookie plays. So I just want to paint it from every side of the spectrum. I think it's fair to, he was very bad at times, right? but he also showed some flashes at times. So I think that's intriguing, especially when you have a guy coming in Todd Monken, who is more of a, like we've said 1,000 times on the network already, just more of a guy who can tailor the offense around his roster, right? So you want to, I just want to see someone get a chance to start for 17 games and see what they have before they make a decision to do whatever they're going to do in 2027, which may be to go get Arch Manning if they're that bad and he, whatever, they're that close to the top of the draft, or package something together to try to move up, whatever it would be. I think you got to give someone the chance to start for 17 games this year. It can't be 5, 10, and you can't do that again. Or 5, 8, and whatever. We can't trade our starting quarterback in week 5 to a division rival. That was crazy. Man, we've been through a lot in the last couple of years with these Browns.
Yeah, we have, and I think I get what you're saying about Shador in terms of there were moments where it was rough, but we've also had such a conversation about on this show and across the network about, but who has he had the ball, the chance to throw the ball to?
Yeah.
Who has he been able to really do anything with? Judkins was there, and then he got injured near the end. Harold Fannin was there, and then he was hurt, for I believe the last game or two there for the season. Yeah. So, and then you're down to Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Isaiah Bond. You got to get somebody in there because I don't think anybody would have been able to really do too much. There was conversations about Joe Flacco having a regression from where he was a few years ago with the Browns because the receivers couldn't catch the ball. Jerry Jeudy was having a very tough time catching the football. Other guys couldn't get open, couldn't get any separation. Yeah. I think that's a big problem. And then Joe Flacco looks all right, at least in Cincinnati. So I think that's a big thing. And I think you have Shador Sanders. I know you have Shador Sanders on a rookie contract. And I know that you have to, Chad, I just feel so passionate about this. You have to put the talent around him because what else are you going to do? Go out and sign somebody in free agency, go spend up all your cap space, and then you can't put anybody around him, lineman-wise, or weapons. You have to take advantage of the 5th-round rookie contract. Yep. And you considered it a steal when you got Shador Sanders in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Then try to maximize the value. What exactly are we losing as Browns fans if we go out there and send Shador Sanders for 17 games? We go 5-12.
And nothing. The expectations aren't there for next season. And like you said, I think people get caught up in you go get Daniel Jones, you go take him from the Colts, you sign whoever. What quarterback in their right mind would come in and play for this team right now with this offensive line the way that it is? With no clear future or a clear picture of what the future looks like at the line or on the line, how would you even sell a quarterback on this job right now? I don't know why anyone would come here willingly. And there are a lot of reasons why Malik Willis, again, the dual, whatever, the agent with, Shador Sanders, that's probably not going to happen. Right. Kyler Murray, I don't think the Browns need. Kyler Murray at this point is a reclamation project, and he needed, incentive to make sure that he was doing his job in Arizona, to make sure he was doing film study and preparing for games. And I just don't think the Browns need that kind of a potential headache. Maybe he's matured. I have no idea. Let him go prove that somewhere else, please. I just don't think it's a good idea to bring him in. I don't think he's built for the AFC. I think there's a lot of reasons that every one of these quarterbacks that's available is not a good fit for the Browns. I think you're whatever you think of Shador Sanders, I think that's probably the starter for 17 games this year. And maybe, at this point, it probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting there. I know we kind of went off track a little bit, because sure. the Browns have our
hearts. In our hearts,
so,
yeah.
Yes. Exactly. But I want to swing it back here before we close out the segment. I want to ask about DJ Moore one more time here in the Buffalo Bills. Does this make them the AFC favorite?
The AFC favorite? I don't know. It depends on what the Chiefs do. The Chiefs could have a nice bounce back season depending on how they draft and what they do in free agency and however they move around. They've got some holes to fill, right? And for some reason, it really fell off very badly last year. But I don't think the Chiefs are a team that, I don't think they're, people, the dynasty's done. Maybe a down year, but I think they could bounce back. Maybe if they come back and do the right thing in the draft, make the right moves, they could be the favorite. What are the Ravens going to look like? How's that going to go? There are just too many questions right now. What are the Bills, under a new coaching staff going to look like? I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I will say this too. We talked the pre-show. I will mention this again. A here on air for everybody to hear. A name to keep an eye out. And this is just my gut feeling. But a name to keep an eye out for with Chicago, Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
I mean, he's a free agent. If he wanted to go back and join the reunion in Kansas City, why wouldn't he go somewhere where they're looking for somebody to create speed? That's what they had with DJ Moore.
Yeah.
You want to have, we'll have to see after the injury and everything, but Tyreek Hill is the fastest guy in the NFL.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, at least on a football field. So I'd be curious to see what that would look like in Chicago, what kind of schemes Ben Johnson could draw up for Tyreek Hill. But I just think that's an interesting name out of all those free agent names. If Chicago, if the Browns are sitting there at 24 and we look here in April and the Browns take the last receiver at 24, that's really top 3 worthy, first round worthy, then maybe the Bears are signing Tyreek Hill or have already signed, maybe that's already, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I wonder what kind of a personality fit he would be with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. Just the way that team and the way that coaching staff and the way that locker room's constructed. I wonder what kind of a fit he would be there. I mean, do you think that goes well for 17 games and into the playoffs and maybe for a couple of seasons? Or
I think Tyreek Hill just wants to win. And if you're the Bears, why wouldn't you take that chance on him? He's a guy who's won a Super Bowl. He's when he's at the top of his game, he's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And I know he had a few all right years by his measures, by his standards in Miami. But, you put him in Chicago. The only thing, I guess, is the cold. But he played in Kansas City. So, to that point, I say look at the games he had in Arrowhead where he did pretty dang well. So, yeah, going to be interesting.
Are the Patriots the automatic favorite in the AFC? I don't think they are just because they went to the Super Bowl.
No.
I don't think they necessarily are. I could see them having a 9-8, 10-7 kind of year next year. Depending on the schedule, we have to see the schedule, but they had a very favorable schedule, and didn't beat a lot of good teams last year, really. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting because what are they going to add at receiver? They released Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
We talked about Stephon Diggs yesterday, I believe, on the show. So that's going to be interesting to see who they add, what they do in the draft. Draft coming up, and we're going to talk a lot about the draft here to end the show in the final 15, 20 minutes or so of the show. But we do want to remind you real quick about our friend, our newest sponsor, the Inside Edge Network, which is Alley Rose Fragrances, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. If you go ahead and use the code InsideEdge20, capital I, capital E, all one word, 20, InsideEdge20, you'll get 20% off your entire order. Great candles, great body mist. If you need a great gift for your sweetheart or her mom or your sister, whoever, just go ahead and get a candle. It's spring, about to be spring. Ohio, we just talked about at the beginning of the show, it's about to be like 70 degrees here in Cleveland. So we are in good spirits. Get a candle going. Let it just absolutely, the aroma fill up the room. And Chad, I know you take advantage. You've already taken advantage of this deal. Just absolutely great options at Alley Rose Fragrances.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the website, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. You can kind of peruse through and see. There's different sizes of each scent. There's the body mists I'm sure they smell phenomenal. I did not pick any up myself, but that's definitely not out of the question in the future. Shipping was so fast, Eli. I think we ordered on a Friday night. We had everything by Tuesday afternoon. So, for a smaller operation, I was impressed with that as well. Because I know how the times I've sold something on eBay, it takes me forever. So I'm always impressed with that. But yeah, all natural ingredients, vegan, cruelty-free, again, handmade, Charlotte, North Carolina, right here in our United States. And I think that's fun. I think people love that. But they smell amazing. My wife is literally in love with the Autumn Day candle right now. So we're probably going to order some more coming up soon. But yeah, they make excellent gifts for people. It's just a really nice, people love getting candles, man. It's nice to get a candle, especially as a gift. Sometimes you spend your own money, I don't want to burn the candle, right? It's like my daughter has the fear of missing out. I don't want to burn it because then it'll be gone. But if someone gives it to you as a gift, burn that sucker. It smells great, right? So they do make really, really good gifts as well. So I think that's cool.
I love it. You heard Chad and I. Go to AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Use the code InsideEdge20 and get 20% off your entire order as a first-time customer, courtesy of the Inside Edge Network and Alley Rose Fragrances. All right, Chad. We are going to take a quick pause. We're going to let everybody go ahead and grab some caffeine on the East Coast, on the West Coast, grab some dinner. We are going to take a quick pause. When we come back, we're going to talk about Caleb Downs. Yes, the cat's out the bag. Caleb Downs may not go number 1. I don't know if you heard, but the best prospect in the draft, sorry, Fernando Mendoza, Caleb Downs may not go number 1. In fact, there may be more talks about where Caleb Downs is going, Chad.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that, and we'll put a bow on this Thursday edition and the wrap-up of this week of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. That's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon, and we'll be right back after this. And welcome back, everybody, to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. We are back for one final segment here of the week on Primetime. Again, friendly reminder, if you didn't catch Primetime yesterday, the debut of Mic Check Take 2 with David Ruiz and Autumn is going to be tomorrow, 7 p.m. here on the Inside Edge Network. So if you enjoyed all the content here today, all the discussion between Chad and I, if you've tuned into the Inside Edge Network before and you haven't given us a follow, Well, hey, welcome back. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, on all the socials. Subscribe and get locked in on when we are going live. And again, great episode tomorrow. Debut episode of Mike Check Take Two. David Ruiz and Autumn tomorrow. Chad, we had a lot of fun talking to them yesterday.
Yeah, it was fun. That was fun. I look forward to them kind of seeing, just watching them argue like brother and sister on the show. But also, I think a lot of great content. Just another, just a different perspective. I mean, they talked about their kind of unique views on things, and I think it's great when you bring two really unique or people with unique views together. I think you get a lot of really good content. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm curious to see how the whole dynamic goes. It's different than Autumn and Christy, like she said yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit, more of a little bit of a battle. I'm excited. So
Yeah.
little different,
Yeah.
a little different than Chad and I here on Prime Time. Me and Chad a little laid back for the most part. Every now and then, we might get an Atlanta Braves rant, but hey, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Nobody got in trouble today, Chad, so we're doing all right.
We're good. Not yet. Yeah, not yet. We're all good.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Okay.
If an NFL draft prospect was the best prospect on the board by pretty much every analyst, and they just happened to be like a pro's pro, like did really well in college, stands out, hits like all the metrics are there.
Okay.
And then you heard that they wouldn't go number one. Would you be shocked?
I mean, it's a quarterback league, right? Like, so if that player wasn't necessarily a quarterback, then I guess I wouldn't be shocked, because I feel like we see that happen a lot. We see, teams reach to try to, if a quarterback has a top 5 grade, you have the number 1 pick, and you need a quarterback, you take the 5th best player sometimes, right? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends. Why? Yeah, Eli? Is there a player like that?
Yeah, I want to ask you. I have one more for you before I let the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
If the player that we're mentioning here, okay, maybe it doesn't go number 1, maybe not even number 2, Chad.
Okay.
Doesn't go top 5, top 10.
Okay.
Is that enough of a discussion point for you to wrap up this show in prime time here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little intrigued. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that player would be Ohio State Buckeyes safety, Caleb Downs, who there's been some reports going around, Chad, about should Caleb Downs be the first guy off the board? Should he be the 5th guy off the board? Should he be the 15th, 20th, 25th guy off the board? There's a conversation where the Browns draft him at 6. There's a conversation where the Browns trade back because the Cowboys want him at 6. Where should Caleb Downs be drafted, Chad?
I mean, it's funny because I feel like he's a top 5 guy, right? Part of me hopes that he's still there for Cleveland at 6, but part of me knows that, the Browns need wide receivers and offensive linemen, and the likelihood that they would take him at 6, I think, is low. Although I can certainly make an argument for it. I mean, I think people were a little upset last year when they traded back and took Mason Graham. If you watched, anything that I did before the draft last year, I said I thought the move was to actually trade back and take Mason Graham on, many live shows. So I thought that was the move. I thought it was a good move. It was and again, I said at the time, it's not a big, Mason Graham's not going to come in and be like a flashy guy and get, 20 sacks and, a bunch of tackles for a loss and like, go, wow, man, look at that guy. He was a clear first-round pick. But what he did do was let Carson Schwarzenegger run around and play freely all year, right? Turn Carson Schwarzenegger to the defensive player of the year. Not that Carson Schwarzenegger can't play on his own, but having that freedom of Mason Graham to pick up those blocks. So sometimes, you don't take the biggest splash guy, right? You take the guy that projects the best for your team in the near future, the long run, whatever it is. So I guess the answer, the long, convoluted answer that I'm giving you is it's just difficult. I think it depends on who's there. And I don't know. Why is there an extenuating, like, why would he be dropping down the draft board? Was there a reason?
Well, Chad, I know you may have a report you may have saw earlier, potentially. But, yeah, there were some reports about maybe the medical history. Is that what I was hearing?
Yeah, someone brought up a medical red flag, degenerative knees, possible concerns on the ACL. blah blah blah. And I think that as far as I can tell, as much as I can comb up any information, some NFL teams are saying, look, this isn't true. This is categorically false. But it seems like the Chiefs, the team that maybe brought this up, and they just happen to be sitting down toward the bottom of the draft. And they just happen to need the safety. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people think that's funny that there's maybe a coincidence there, or maybe a little more than a coincidence, but I don't know. I mean, I think this kind of stuff, again, like it's draft time, right? Like this is when, like other than anything political, this is when you can just expect nothing near the truth to come out of anyone's mouth, right? Like people just say things this time of year in the NFL. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They will literally say anything, and it doesn't even matter. It could disparage a prospect. It could disparage a player, a future player. And if it means that they get to draft him at 19 or 22 or 26, whatever, say it, fire it, send it. Who cares? Maybe we'll make it up later. Like, right? It's always better to, what do they say? It's better to ask for forgiveness or beg for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission, whatever. Or easier. I don't know. I messed that saying. I couldn't have messed that saying up worse.
You did pretty good there.
Did I? I feel like I fumbled through that pretty hard.
Yeah.
Okay, it was like Jerry or Judy trying to catch a football, but that's
yeah.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
The big thing is you tried.
I did try. I gave it a full effort. Yeah, on a Thursday night at the end of the week, I gave a full effort. I feel pretty good about that now.
Yeah, that was like a diving catch. That was a diving catch effort.
Yeah, but I just didn't get my one elbow in, so I didn't. Yeah, they called it an incomplete. Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
Whatever we were talking about, I'm sure I had a great point until I lost it. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just think again, this time of year, it's hard to take anything. You take everything with a grain of salt, right? Like you just don't know. And teams are going to do whatever they're going to do. I think their teams are resigned to whatever their decision is. I don't think they're going to let a lot of this stuff sway them. They're going to have their own medical staff look at a guy like Caleb Downs. If you want to draft him at number 3 or number 4 or whatever, you're going to have your own guys look at him, and give him a chance. And if he comes out okay, then yeah, take him, whatever. All this stuff is just, I don't know, just stuff people say this time of year. It's wild.
Yeah, the Chiefs just moved off of Trent McDuffie, one of their cornerbacks, to the Rams, yesterday, and that was, I believe that was yesterday. All these days blend together. It feels like sometimes with these NFL offseason.
Wait till you get my age, bud.
Okay, cool. Can't wait. And I think it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. They have an obvious need in that secondary. They haven't had a true safety that stood out as like a wrecker in the league since Eric Berry, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I'd be interested to see there. But yeah, you're right. The draft, we're gonna get a bunch of nonsense. I mean, and like I said, I'm not disparaging or discrediting Fernando Mendoza. I think he's a great prospect. I think he is going to be obviously the number one guy off the board.
Yeah,
but I just think Caleb Downs is clearly the best prospect, and I just think it's so crazy because we end up having conversations about these guys being stars, like, and sometimes the best player out of the entire draft, and they go 8th, 9th overall because nobody wanted to take a safety number 1. I don't get it.
Yeah. The NFL draft, well, it's not as weird as the NBA draft because, I mean, you've literally seen the NBA draft. I mean, with the 7th pick, someone takes a 16-year-old from Spain that may never even see the league. It's like, it's bizarre. It's a weird pick. I feel like it's not so much that way anymore, but I can remember back in the day, like, who was just the 6th pick in the draft? Like, what was that? So it's not quite as strange to me as the NBA draft, but the NFL draft can be weird. I mean, it's like, yeah, certain positions just don't get touched anyway, and it goes in cycles, right? Like, for a while it was all quarterbacks. Didn't matter. The top 10 quarterbacks went in the first, 35 picks. That was it. And then it was like, well, don't touch running backs until the 2nd or 3rd round. And then every once in a while you can see a running back creep up and go 3rd overall or 5th overall. And then slowly running backs started to like creep up toward the top of the draft again. So it just goes in cycles. It's edge rushers and it's, left tackles are near the top. It just, whatever the dish of the day is, right? In the NFL. I mean, that's how the draft seems to steer. And right now, like you said, there's going to be a run on wide receivers. A lot of wide receivers are going to go maybe earlier than we even think. Man, I don't know. It's hard to make any sense of it all, especially with all the false medical stuff coming out and the rumors and the, smoke screens from every team. There's all kinds of quotes online with Diego Pavia saying he has the best arm. I don't think that's even true, but I sent you that earlier today. I was like, these can't be real, right? I keep seeing these all week. Diego Pavia saying he has no competition, he has the best arm, whatever. On one hand, I don't know if I'd put it past him. I mean, he's a pretty confident guy. But on the second hand, it looks like AI. I haven't been able to I haven't been able to attribute that quote to him yet. So I doubt that.
It's draft season, Chad.
Exactly. You can't believe anything, especially with AI now. You can't believe anything.
Yep, draft season, pal. Hey, before we get the final thoughts here, we appreciate everybody tuning in here. We're going to put a bow on this edition of Primetime and this week of Primetime. Do want to just announce and give a shout out to LeBron James, who's now the NBA leader for all-time field goals made. He broke that record tonight, past Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He did that against the Denver Nuggets, and that would look like it was at the end of near the end of the first quarter there. We cannot play the clip, but it was a cool shot. So, all right, LeBron, the all-time leader, Chad. So, what do you think about that? Just pretty cool to see another record here for the King.
Yeah, I mean, it's if when you're around long enough, you're gonna start stacking. And it's pretty impressive. It's crazy to think that I can't believe his career is almost over. I mean, I guess that's what blows my mind about it. You could say that he's a stat piler or stat compiler or whatever you want to say, but he's still averaging 22, 6 and 6 right now. I mean,
yeah,
good at 40 plus years old. I think people overlook the fact that he's been in the league for, over half his life now. That's insane to me. He's been in the league for almost half my life, and it's I don't know. Yeah, it's cool to see. I mean, it doesn't surprise me a bit. It's just another. I'm really surprised he's still so polarizing. I think people are really actually going to miss him when he's gone. All the people that I don't know why all these people jump on the LeBron hate train. I still haven't figured it out. Is it because he left Cleveland? Is it because he's a ring? But we vilify guys for not winning championships, right? And then we vilify guys when they go to the best spot to win a championship. And then we vilify guys it's like no matter what they do, you might as well just do your own thing, which he's done his whole career because you're going to get vilified by everybody anyway, right? You're never going to please everybody, so
yeah,
I can't fault him for doing his own thing. It's cool to see.
Sure was, pal. Let's get some final thoughts here and let's put a bow on this thing. What are your final thoughts of the week here on Thursday before we get you back here Saturday for Legal Formation and Sunday Sports Show? What are your final thoughts on this primetime edition here on Thursday, Chad?
Well, just remember, as you're out and about in the world over the next, month and a half, almost 2 months, as you hear people tell you things, they say, hey, this is on sale for whatever. Don't believe anything. It's draft season. Don't believe anything, right? You feel like, hey, I'm doing okay. I'm doing enough to make my wife. Don't believe yourself. Do more to make your wife happy. It's draft season. All right, you're not playing. Don't believe anyone. It's draft season. That's my. Those are my thoughts for Thursday. Just don't believe anything.
It's draft season.
It's draft season.
That's
what I'm gonna tell people when I don't believe what they're saying. It's draft season, bro.
I love it. You heard Chad. It's draft season, so you gotta be careful out there. And also, what you need to do is drink your water. I did not drink enough water today, Chad. And I know somebody probably saw me out there. Everybody probably saw me out there drink a caffeinated beverage about halfway through the show. But I've had some water since. I need to drink some more water tomorrow. And I think everybody out there that's listening, drink some water. Start your weekend off right. And just feel good, man. It's going to be a good weekend here weather-wise in Cleveland. I mean, a little bit of rain, whatever. But it's going to be sunny in terms of, the weather, the heat, and I'm with that. And I'm excited about that. So that's my final thoughts. I want to say thank you to everybody out there for tuning in here on the Inside Edge Network. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all that good jazz on all the socials. And so you know when we're going live. Chad and I are here with you Monday through Thursday, 10 to 11 p.m. on Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. A lot of great shows coming up this weekend. First off, Friday, Mike Check Take 2, David and Autumn, 7 p.m. We also have Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast, a new episode tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that as well earlier on in the day. Yeah. You have Saturday. You have Illegal Formation with Chad and TK. Yep. You have Real Talk with Papa Moon, and I have a really cool guest. You'll see that on Saturday. And then, oh my goodness, you're going to be thrilled, Chad. And we have Sunday Sports Show with Ryan Mosser, TK Dandridge, Chad Bryan, and the main event with Robert Zicki, Double Anthony Alford, and myself, Eli Moon. A lot of great stuff this weekend. Make sure you tap in on Inside Edge Net for the Inside Edge Network. For Chad Bryan, to my right, your left, I am Eli Moon. This has been another week of Inside Edge Primetime. Make sure you set your schedules for tomorrow, 7 p.m., and we'll be watching with you for Mike Check Take 2. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.